Hello, thanks guys for inviting me. I'll start my presentation with a video, and then I will talk.
I'm just a little person, one person in a sea of many little people who are not aware of me. I do my little job and live my little life, eat my little meals, miss my little kid and wife, and somewhere, maybe someday, maybe somewhere far away, I'll find a second little person who will look at me and say, I know you, you're the one I've waited for. Let's have some fun. Life is precious, every minute, and more precious with you in it. So let's have some fun. We'll take a road trip way out west. You're the one I like the best. I'm glad I found you, like hanging round you. You're the one I like the best. Somewhere, maybe someday, maybe somewhere far away. Somewhere, maybe someday, maybe somewhere far away. Somewhere, maybe someday, maybe somewhere far away. I'll need a second little person, and we'll go out and play.
Please. This was a video made by a sort of robotic rover on the deep sea floor somewhere off, I think, California coast. The depicted sort of scene is the whale fall, the corpse of a whale that died and naturally sank to the bottom of the ocean and created a colony of microorganisms around it. These colonies are they host mysterious ecosystems with a very unique genetic material there, in a way, animals that you cannot find anywhere else. And they exist for up to 100 years, so it takes almost 100 years for one whale corpse to be completely decomposed into all sorts of minerals. And part of the uniqueness is that there is no light, there is no oxygen there, so the sort of the environment is really alien in a way, and it's also incredibly short-lived for ecological timescales. We've only found out about well, not me, but the people only found out about the existence of these ecosystems recently, like in the late 80s, when they found them together with hydrothermal vents and all sorts of underwater volcanoes. When the first, basically, camera-operated robotic missions were able to go to the deep sea and see what's going on there. And here's a setup. You see on the down picture, you see a setup of how that scene was basically filmed, with a bunch of tripods, cameras, and all sorts of rovers to assist the filming. And in a way, as a sort of one of the most alien environments on Earth, the setup is very similar to the ones used for, let's say, Mars exploration, where it's just, instead of a bunch of robotic camera entities, there's one rover that is doing all the job of navigating the place and taking pictures, and the only thing that is accessible to us is the sort of the images that are resulting in it, either video or still images. And I've been sort of reading a lot of this, a sociologist, Janet Vertesi, and she did a 3-year research project on the Mars rover mission, where she was looking at how scientists interact with the data, the visual data that they receive. And I will just read a few quotes from her in relation to this. Working on Mars Exploration Rover is a highly visual experience. Spirit, Curiosity, and Opportunity rovers have returned hundreds of thousands of images since their respective landings on Mars. Digital image processing, to a large extent, constitutes the essence of doing science on another planet. One scientist saying, we planetary scientists have all become what they call pixel pushers instead of field geologists. So it's sort of scientists, it's like a collaboration between robotic and human actors to create a sort of kind of a JPEG version of interplanetary alien reality, or be it a deep sea alien reality on Earth. Scientists perform active manipulation and composition of digital images that make sense of a distant planet and make it available for robotic interaction. The work of digital image processing is important not because it can produce a more perfect vision of an object under the investigation. Instead, scientists use digital images to perform a wide range of transformations, with each mouse click revealing new aspects of the objects that were invisible before. So when you work with a team for a while, you kind of learn how to see like a robotic rover, as another scientist is saying. And amongst what it means, basically, is just this idea that beyond just the normal human vision that you are used to, you start to emphasize with your sensory devices, and you start to see things in short and long wavelengths, like infrared or ultraviolet, in different chemical spectra, in false color, in echolocation, in zeros and ones. So you're collectively adjusting your vision to respond to what machine is doing, and to understand and somehow inform the machine of what you need to see, and so on, the other way around. And And this could be said, this whole discourse could be applied, I think, to sensing devices beyond only Mars exploration, just to our daily reality. But before we get there, this is these are sort of the chemical hydrothermal vent chimneys on Earth, the way they were also documented by deep sea rovers. And these images have a strong iconic factor. It looks alien, nobody knows what's going on. But what I find also intriguing is just how for us it's impossible to imagine these environments without the robots that participate in their mediation. So there is always a hand over some sort of machine in the field view of the image most of the time. And the missions of documenting the reality and sampling it, they actually introduce a bunch of new objects into the environment, making it a whole other environment. And most radically, they introduce full-on light projections just to light up the scene. It's totally pitch dark at the bottom of the ocean. And there is no lasers, there is no cables, and there's none of that stuff in a way, unless it just fell in by accident. But the illumination of the scene creates actually like a whole new environment by itself. The Mars rover we just don't see Mars, we see already assemblage of a Mars plus Mars rover. We don't really know how it was without it. And this sort of radical mediation that is unable, that is somehow irreplaceable. You cannot have action without mediation. The digital images is all these scientists have, mostly, and with their deep sea, they also have like actual samples. And I find the sort of the clash of these inputs of the alien and the sort of banal machinic incredibly productive in terms of understanding what is basically kind of what is the role of the image today. There's another thing is that a lot of it ends up being on YouTube, with most of the research now being under pressure to just being uploaded online so that everybody can see it, so that it can participate in this sort of attention economy, even though people don't know what is going on. And the furthest development has been that sort of the underwater sites, after they've been explored for what they are, for what we think they are, they will be explored for resources, either mining or genetic resources like bioresources, and basically all the rare earth minerals and all that copper and all that stuff is there. So the mining companies are doing tests where they're drilling something and then they see what happens to the site, and all this is documented meticulously, and a lot of it is online, just on YouTube as anything else. And this sort of obsession, not of just mediating, but also mediating plus sharing is for me important. And to somehow transition within the platform of YouTube, there's this similar tendency going on in the whole other area, which I've been looking into, which is basically family vlogging on YouTube, where people basically document their life. And oops, what's that? That's not what we want. Just gonna show you quickly. This is
gravitational sac. So fluid shows up black on ultrasound, so that's the fluid. This is the baby right here. That little flicker right there is the heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Makes that make noise.
That's so cool, that little flicker. The baby's got a heartbeat.
Yay! I can hear it! Oh, I cry. You seriously just made my entire week. Thank you so much.
Yay!
Guys, I'm happy now. I'm not grumpy anymore.
You just need to hear a heartbeat,
I was so grumpy, but my doctor, she was super sweet, and I wasn't even supposed to get a sonogram because they're like, it's too early, but I know it wasn't. I knew it wasn't gonna be too early because every time with Audrey and with Kai, I could always hear it at this early on. So she was like, I don't know, I might have to do like the vaginal one, but we'll try on your stomach first. And
You
sure
like-
enough,
You're like, you've been up in my vagina enough for today.
sure enough, she was like, oh, we can't see the heartbeat. We got to see it. We got to see the baby.
We got the pictures.
Look, there's the
I know.
little naivest of the knolls, the littlest naivest.
Oh, he's gonna be the. I keep
I
saying
love
he.
you keep saying he already. You guys.
Guys, I think it's a he.
What if it's not?
You think it's a girl though?
What if? Are you gonna seriously be disappointed if it's
No,
a
I won't. But I just feel like it's a boy.
Why?
I don't
I
know.
thought Audrey was a boy.
Well, I think this was a boy too.
Guys, I'm so happy. There's
I know,
my
it's so
babies.
cute.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny too because you're like, look, guys, look. It's like, what is it? It's
I
a
just
little
think that
dot.
heartbeat flickering on the
I know, you
monitor
can
was so
see
cool.
It makes me want to cry every time I hear it. I'm like, oh. Well, guys, that is my pregnancy update. I am officially due October 18th. I'm so.
Or before I talk about it. One more video, please.
Because I think I have a pretty high pain tolerance, and these contractions are hurting hecka bad. Like I'm about to have one right now, and I might have to turn the camera off because it hurts really, really bad. Oh wow, it really hurts, it really hurts, it really hurts. Okay, I'm gonna breathe. You guys, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Okay, breathe. Breathe. Oh, ow, ow. Oh, I'm not even on myself. Am I? I don't even know. Ow, ow. Where the hell is Austin?
I think it's happening, okay? Oh,
Reality of YouTube traffic these days. Besides all kind of stuff, a huge part of YouTube is now about people vlogging their lives. They're called family vlogs, pregnancy vlogs, daily vlogs, all sorts of diary vlogs, and people are sort of introducing this very intense mediation, voluntarily introducing the very intense mediation of their daily life and share maybe 15 minutes or 10 minutes of it on there continuously. And one of the triggers that sort of makes them do it is because they get financially rewarded after getting a certain amount of subscribers and viewers per their video. So most of these people obviously have nothing to do with video professionals or art or even reality TV. It's just people who pick up a camera, and just like the rovers, they sort of start to record everything around them and put the camera onto them and sort of basically create like a extended resolution of their life. It's almost sort of a zoomed in perspective where all these aspects included from just the fact that you can record so much data and upload it to the ultrasounds and to all these sort of forms of input that is then aggregated into like a package. Okay, this is what will get people's attention, and this is my life. I'm going to share it, and everybody should be sharing their lives. And in that sense, there's almost like I see a parallel between these two processes. This is from another woman's channel, where she did a labor and delivery vlog, and it's all sort of collapsing on each other. You know, there's the monitor that is taking the baby's heartbeat and all that stuff. There's the monitor that is documenting the contractions and making sure that everything is going fine. This is the first footage that you see of the newborn baby, and the dad is holding the camera, and the camera is out of focus. And again, it's about this weird calibration of technology versus the sort of the entity behind it. And they're both creating the images, but they're not always cooperating. This is the baby his first minutes of life, attached to all these tubes and whatnot. And I mean, it looks like an incubator, and it is, but it's not I find it somehow similar to that deep sea scene where you get, again, a clash of both things. This is the baby's first bath by a nurse with like some sort of gel being put on its head in the first hour of life. This is the woman vlogging herself, breastfeeding in the first hours of her baby's life. With all this, and this is her, and the vlog ends with her showing her newly postpartum belly, and she's doing it all somehow as this, I believe, well, I don't know what to believe, but as a sort of idea of increased mediation and resolution on the daily reality, because we can, basically. Then it goes on and on. She's been vlogging for years. After that, they have a labor and delivery story where you explain everything that happened in the previous video, and there's a baby on the bed, and then you see a little monitor lighting up on the shelf. There's a baby monitor, so there's constant negotiation between somehow the kind of what we would call human and non-human, what we just made. And the next series of videos, it's about basically the baby products that she finds useful. And it's not just her, it's like it's a cluster of people, it's thousands of people doing this, and they get millions of views. A lot of these channels get more views than TV shows. But the recording are the most banal things of going to the store, buying things, buying the baby swing, recommending the baby swing, showing how the baby swing works. And then the next most popular format after birth vlogs and delivery vlogs is day in a life vlog, and where you try to record your typical day in a life in different stages of your life. So every few months you should do a day in a life, and you get a lot of views from it. And people are excited about everything, what you eat for breakfast, where you go, how you operate, and this sort of what kind of products you use, why do you use them, why don't you use these other products. And this somehow, I've been watching these things for over a year, and I don't know what is. I'm curious if anybody actually analyzed them on a deeper level. For me, there's this comparison between the overall mediation of life, which can be visible in science. It can be visible in like obsession with art documentation. It can be visible in these things where everything has an interface. So the other, what ends up happening is a sort of an updated version of life, because you cannot really imagine life without mediation, and mediation is the most natural state of like doing things. So besides having a baby, you have to mediate every single element about that baby. And even if the baby has health problems, they go on for hours explaining what's happening. And life update is like another format that a lot of people use. this idea of like what is happening in my life summed up, like this happened, I just want to, instead of doing a vlog, I will do like an overview of how life is changing. And I've been calling my exhibitions and projects in the last like year based on these vlogging terms, and because I find the meanings themselves incredibly strange, like the sort of idea of updating software and updating life and giving people updates and constant flow of somehow signals. It's a very machinic idea in a way. And in a sense that a landing of a rover on another planet is being live tweeted, and the birth of a YouTube child is being similarly live tweeted, and it's seen as a similar event with a similar sort of iconic power. It's just there's millions of children, but still every birth of life is seen as a landing as a flyby of a New Horizons missions past Pluto. And I've just, I don't know, I'm just sharing what I've been looking into for the last year. And I will show you, I will end my presentation with showing a video that I made this year, where I'm attempting to bring all these elements together in a work. So we need the sound again.
Is this sweet babe the sea's new moon, or nature unfolding? The semiotic life form, or the sweet emergence of aggregate patterns? The innocence of a formless thing, or the tender limbs of a technological animal? A cluster of plastic flanges and laser pointers, or a beached whale from a forgotten land? A shapeshifter caught in a midday slumber, or an object for human gaze? An expedition into timescapes I cannot see. A loving hydrothermal vent mother, or a black smoker father? The seed of symbolic collapse, or the terror of clarity? The tender luster of Jupiter's Europa and Saturn's Enceladus. A machinic twitching, or the heartbeat of a new aesthetic frontier? Is it a creative colony of parasites, or an emotional reaction? Or is this sweet babe the presence of God's ghostly hand as I ascend into a torpor, into the brink of nothingness? Is this sweet babe the sea's new moon, or nature unfolding? The semiotic life form, or the sweet emergence of aggregate patterns? The innocence of a formless thing, or the tender limbs of a technological animal? A cluster of plastic flanges and laser pointers, or a beached whale from a forgotten land? A shapeshifter caught in a midday slumber, or an object for human gaze? An expedition into timescapes I cannot see? A loving hydrothermal vent mother, or a black smoker father? The seed of symbolic collapse, or the terror of clarity? The tender luster of Jupiter's Europa and Saturn's Enceladus. A machinic twitching or the heartbeat of a new aesthetic frontier. Is it a creative colony of parasites or an emotional reaction? Or is this sweet babe the presence of God's ghostly hand as I ascend into torpor, into the brink of nothingness?